Good afternoon. Today is August the 14th, and this is Esther Lawson with God's Grace Garden. And it's now about 2 weeks since the first compost tea application, and since then I've made about a good 2 or 3 more. So let's take a look at how things are turning around here. First we have the cayenne peppers. Look at that, we have another flower growing in. We already had one, if you remember from the other video. Look at that, that's pretty. So we have flowers that are soon to be blooming all over these 2 peppers that I have. And I added another basil here. So this basil plant was just planted yesterday, and I added some fungi to it. So we'll see how this grows compared to other basils that I've grown. And here's another rosemary that I planted on the same day. I got these from the fresh market. And another update that we have here, we have our first pole bean flower. You can see that right there, right here. Let's zoom in there just a little bit. Maybe not. Well, it's growing. You see that in the top right corner? It's about to bloom. So we have pole beans about to start growing. The geraniums are looking very nice. These flowers have opened up and closed. Look at that. Those are some beautiful flowers. So the pole beans here with the vine and flowers going up, they're looking nice as well. More pole beans. And these are morning glories with the squash is growing. It had been eaten a little bit by some squash bugs, but they seem to be doing fine since I put some neem oil and other things on there, organic, to keep the pest away. So the morning glories and the squash, and I snuck a little radish in there too, if you'll see that. See the radish. Never grown it before, but we'll see how it goes. It's a good plant to end a plant with squash, so that's the reason why I put it there. And the cucumber, it's just flourishing nicely. I have so many female flowers that come up and they've been pollinated. We'll see if I can find some. There's one cucumber growing. There's another one there growing too. There's a few growing here. 3, 4. And it's gone all the way over here now. So I'll be having all kind of cucumbers growing in the next couple weeks. There's 5. Let's see, some more cucumbers. Do we have 6? And we have number 7, 8 growing on this one that's decided to spring off to the side. 9. I'm sure I can find the 10th one around here somewhere. We'll see. But the cucumber is looking very nice. I sacrificed a few in the beginning to encourage it to grow more, and I see that my plan has worked. It's looking nice, the whole mini garden. And this is basically container gardening. I use old tires from trucks and stuff, and I fill them with dirt and compost that I've made myself, and I've used organic materials and whatnot to fertilize these plants. So these have been in a more controlled environment than our other vegetables in the main garden have been, that received a lot of rain in the beginning of their process and not as much nourishment in the beginning as these plants here have received. So all of them seem to be blooming and doing well. The morning glories, they don't have any flowers growing on them yet, but I think I have some flowers growing on the other ones in the other side of the mini garden that I'll show you here in a minute. But here are my pole beans that I have growing individually. they're coming up, and I added some fungi to this too, so we'll see how these grow compared to the ones over here where I added fungi later in their growing cycle than these that I added near the beginning. This is the second portion of the mini garden where I have more morning glories growing with some heavyweight green beans that I planted maybe about 3 weeks ago, and they seem to be getting flowers about to start blooming on them too. Here's some seeds that I planted. These are, I think, Kentucky Wonders. They're already coming up. They were planted nicely, so I expect some good potential out of them as well. I transplanted this okra about a week ago, and it seems to be hanging on for dear life, but I think it's gonna survive. I wanted to remove it from the main garden because it had been crowded up by some other plants, the tomatoes, and they didn't seem to be growing well. So I removed them and tried to save them by planting them somewhere else, and I think it's gonna work out. So look at those beautiful yellow flowers on there. Those are my male and female flowers for the cucumbers that seem to be doing a lot better than the cucumbers that are also vining in the main garden. So let's go take a look at those. Okay, here's the cucumber vining plant that I have in the main garden. It's been growing longer than the other plant, but not as much growth and flourishing showing up on this, but it's gotten better over the last couple of weeks because I've been giving it some tender love and care. So these are all the flowers growing. This is a flower growing on this okra right here. It's gonna fall off any day and start growing. Here's an okra that is growing. It's been growing for about 2-3 days now. It's had one okra to grow on it already, and I picked it off early to encourage more growth. And I think that plan as well is working. As you see, I have maybe about, let's see if I can count them there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-ish okras growing on that plant now, where it only had about 2 or 3 when it first started, sort of like this. And this one here has an okra that should be flowering and opening up soon. So the okra, I expect in the next month to start producing a lot of okra. So this is the tomato. I think this is the best one that I have so far. I think it's a different type of tomato than these. I forgot because I transplanted these from a bad location, so they got a slow start in the beginning of their growing process. So whatever I get out of these, you know, it's more all to the good, because I didn't expect much from them, because I didn't expect for them to live, because they were transplanted from the green beans that I had over here all the way over to here, behind me where I just left from. So they transplanted and started growing, so that's all I can expect from them. Whatever happens, happens. But anyways, these are the purple hull peas. I have some peas forming on here. Look at there, that looks nice and pretty, doesn't it? So, and I also have a couple of pole beans planted within here. You see them growing right here. These are the pole beans. So pole beans and purple hull peas are growing throughout this garden, and this garden also has a lot more flowers forming on them. As you can see there, look at that. Look at those flowers. So I should have a lot more flowers forming on them in the next week or two, especially since I just put a nice application of compost tea on that one, on the plants today. And on the video that I made this morning, I didn't really go over the contents of my compost tea, but I'll just go ahead and say what I put in there. I put green sand, I put alfalfa meal, I put bat guano with emphasis more on phosphorus. I think it was a 0-10-0. blend from I think it's a Jamaican guana, something leaves. I have to look it up. And I also put some it's called Mycos, extreme gardening Mycos, which is basically a fungi that helps the plants grow better and get nutrients from their surrounding areas more efficiently and grow better. So we'll see how the plants start to grow once those fungi start growing and attaching to different parts of the soil within the ground out here. And we'll see what else that I put in there. I put some earthworm castings, some that I bought and some that I made myself. I used some of my earthworm castings, and I'm happy to see that when I opened up my worm bin that I had mushrooms actually growing in there. So my earthworm castings are fungal as well. So I put some of that, and I think that's about all I put in there. And I put some molasses on top of that, and I let it brew for about 24 hours, and I applied it on there, and I put some on from 24 hours, and then I put some on around 36 hours. These little bugs here, I've been seeing a lot of these. I don't know. I'll see and monitor this plant and make sure that nothing happens with it. But it's sort of like a little white fuzzy fly. I'm not sure what it is, but if something goes wrong with this plant, I'll know that I'm going to be spraying y'all down big time. So the pole beans are growing up, everything. You see that? I've attached it ever so gently to this one right here with some of my flagging tape that surveyors use. The pink and orange little strips is surveying flagging tape. And it's nice, easily, it helps you easily stake up your vegetables and plants and stuff like that. I also sprayed the plants down with baking soda today. It seems that some of them have gotten a little bit of fungus or something growing on it, and we'll take a look at some of it, so we'll have a look on camera of what I'm talking about. You see that, those little rust spots on there? I'm thinking that is fungus of some type. So I pulled off as many as I could without just mutilating the plant. And since I got some new growth here, you see that? I don't think I'll have too much to worry about because it's still in fact growing. And as I pull the bad leaves off, more will be taking up root in its place. So we'll keep on applying the baking soda water solution and see if it gets cleared up or not. Okay, and last but not least, finally we have squash growing in the garden. I think I can rest assured and say that this is squash. I don't know why it's green at the root. I don't know how it got pollinated because I don't even have any male flowers that were open. It didn't even open. Just out of nowhere, it just kept growing and growing, and the flower never seemed to fall off, just sort of like how this one is doing right there. Let's go in there so we can get a better look. Let's zoom in. You see how that one still has the flower on it? Looks like it should be opening any day, but still it's growing. I think it's been pollinated before it even opened up, so I don't know how that happened. The mysteries of the garden, you can't count them all. It's just some weird stuff that goes on down here. But anyways, that's about all we have growing on in the garden. Today I'll be picking up some compost from the landfill instead of making my own because it's a grueling process and school will be starting in about a week, so I won't have as much time on my hands to do that anymore. So I'm gonna do a little shortcut and let Cherokee County and Spartanburg County do my composting from now on. Here I planted some more Kentucky Wonders and I think wax green beans in one of them, I can't tell, excuse me, I'm a little off balance here because I just got bit by an ant on the ankle inside my boot. I don't know how that happened. They're tricky. But anyways, the not pole beans, but these provider green beans. They've been getting green beans on them, but I see some more coming up, so they're all producing slowly but surely. I want them to get a little bit more weight on them, and you know, more flowers, which seems to be happening. You see that? Flowers, those purple flowers, those are the provider green beans. That one has a lot of flowers on it. So we'll keep an eye on things and see how things go for the next week or so, or until I see a lot of growth, or whichever one comes first. I'm signing off. Thank you for watching. God bless.